Are you feeling emotionally drained, stressed, overwhelmed, or maybe you're just feeling numb, possibly not feeling much of anything? If so, that's completely okay. What I want you to imagine is what could be possible if you actually learn how to self-manage your emotions, such that you increased your happiness, contentment, or even a sense of feeling valuable in your everyday life. You see, Ambitious Vet, today's guest is going to share how you can go from an airborne infantryman with an emotional skills of a 5-year-old to learning how to get out of your own way and dramatically increase your life satisfaction in business and in personal life.
By that is growing my emotional intelligence. I didn't know who I was prior to growing my emotional intelligence because I'm a recovering people pleaser addict. So I only cared what everyone else thought, everyone else, right? I had no idea what my own opinions were, my own thoughts were, because I wanted to make sure that Chris liked me and Bob liked me and Susie liked me and Fred liked me and Francis.
Are you out of the military and feeling lost, confused, or simply unfulfilled where you are in life? Maybe you're like me and realize resume writing, interview prep, and job fair education has a shelf life to your post-military goals and aspirations. It's literally, Ambitious Vet, a band-aid to a deeper problem of figuring out who you are, what you want, and how to execute on it so you can finally feel like you're making the impact that you were making while serving in the uniform. Hi, my name is Chris Hoffman. I am the host of this podcast. I'm also a best-selling author and founder of the Ambitious Vet Network. We're here to provide you with not only the weekly golden grenades to break through to new levels of success, but platforms, contents, and programs to advance in life together after career stability is no longer a challenge to overcome. Look, I really do get your pain of desiring more than what you have right now in the moment, or feel that you feel in the moment, right? I had 5 careers in five different industries. And the cherry on top of that, when I got out of the Marine Corps in 2012, a year afterwards, I had 2 failed suicide attempts, just due to me struggling to find myself and get myself out of the way. But look, I know you're aspiring to be more than where you are, and I know it's having you feel nervous, anxious, and angry on why it isn't as easy as it was while serving, right? So here's the thing. Since 2017, I've created over 5,000 plus hours of on-demand personal and professional development content that has been consumed by over 100,000 plus veterans just like you who desire more out of life post-military. I've been recognized as one of the top military entrepreneurs by San Diego Business Journal 2 times, recognized by Podcast Magazine as a top 10 veteran-hosted podcast, featured on CBS, Stars and Stripes, and just now this past week, was announced as a next Forbes 1000 honoree. But again, before that Ambitious Vet, all these achievements, I was a lost Ambitious Vet living on a wrestling mat inside of an apartment I couldn't afford in San Diego, paranoid that everyone else knew the secret to finding fulfilling success in life other than me. But after I began to invest in my own self-education, took courses, read books, listened to podcasts like this, things began to flip for me, and it became easier, more predictable to create the desired results I actually wanted in my life. I guess you could say I became the commander-in-chief of my life. Hell, I hope that that's the case after spending and investing over $100,000 plus learning from some of the top success teachers in the world. Now, obviously, Ambitious Vet, I'm not asking you to invest over $100,000 in your personal development. However, what I am asking you to do is go out and check out everything that I've packaged over the past 10 years, going on 10 years now of getting out of the Marine Corps, of all my failures, all my mistakes, all the landmines that I hit, and all the money that I've spent to learn from some of the top leaders. I'm literally offering you an opportunity to accelerate your learning curve to becoming who you want to be out of the uniform. Now, this is regularly valued of over $1,300. But since you are a listener of the Ambitious Vet podcast, we're going to offer this offer for only $5. You're going to get my best-selling ebook, 5x5 goal-setting worksheet, the Ambitious Vet field guide, the Sniper Focus keynote. I actually led to a virtual audience of 1 million plus, and a lifetime access to our Ambitious Vet Network Facebook group so you can get plugged in and connect and grow in the trenches of life with other ambitious Vets. So where can you go to find this more information? Go out and check out www.10stepstosuccessbook.com. Again, that's www.10stepstosuccessbook.com, and I'll see you on the other side.
It's time to get into the trenches, dig into your purpose, and fire up your life fulfillment. The Ambitious Vet Podcast starts now.
What's going on, Ambitious Vet? We are right back inside the trenches today with Noble Gibbons. Noble is a graduate from the United States Military Academy at West Point and went on to serve in the U.S. Army in the 82nd Airborne Division at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. After leaving the military, Noble spent 20 plus years as an entrepreneur and was involved with 10 different startups ranging from sales executive coaching to government contracting. He now finds himself a co-creator with his wife, Kathy, of 25 years, Ambitious Vet, and they've co-created the EQ for Entrepreneurs, providing leading business podcasts, programs, assessments, corporate training, and much, much more. But I'll let Noble fill the gaps on that. Noble, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, Chris Holman! What's
up, brother?
Oh. My man!
I love it, brother. I love it, man. You know, every time we get together, man, I feel that energy, man. It is infectious. An Ambitious Vet, you may not be able to see what's behind him, but he literally is an EQ gangster. He has that light right behind him. It is just absolutely amazing and a blessing to even be in a conversation with this man. So, Ambitious Vet, you may recognize this man's energy, the tonality of his voice. He was on episode 63 back in August of 2019. So if you haven't gone and checked that episode out, go and check that out. Tons of golden grenades. I'm excited to have an Ambitious Vet that's listening right now. Kind of, if they don't know who you are, brother, kind of like get caught up to speed in who you are. And if an Ambitious Vet has listened to that episode or has been following you on social media or listening to your podcast, let them know what you've been up to lately, man. Fill the gaps in that intro.
No, thanks, Big Chris. So first of all, dude, thanks a million for being here, bro. I feel amazing, ecstatic to be in there like nose hair with Big Chris Hoffman. You know what I'm saying? And totally appreciate all that you've been doing for all the veterans, man. All of us out there, just totally appreciate all your work, the grind, the hustle, the blood, sweat, and tears. Can't forget the tears because that's real. Being an entrepreneur, right? I mean, it's no joke, dude. It's no joke. So my quick background. Military-wise, went to West Point, and I know some of y'all like, oh crap, West Point guy. I know. You ready for this? I graduated the top, bottom third of my class. What? Oh yeah, and you bet I had a 4.0 at West Point. If you add up all 4 years. Boom!
That's great.
So I went to West Point, then I went to Airborne School, my infantry officer basic course, Ranger School, stationed at the 82nd Airborne Division. I was the infantry officer in the 82nd, 2nd Brigade, 1st of 325 Airborne Infantry Regiment, and then I was a rifle platoon leader. I was a brigade air officer, we call it, in the 82nd. I was a scout platoon leader in 1st Battalion, the 325th Airborne Infantry Regiment. Then I was a staff puke up at Corps Headquarters, 18th Airborne Corps Headquarters for about a year. And I actually interviewed, kind of neat, funny story. I interviewed a 30-minute interview on leadership with a little guy, if you've ever heard of a little guy named Colonel Petraeus at the time.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Colonel Petraeus, incredible dude, genius, literally a genius, unbelievable. It was a great experience. But anyway, and so then from there, after all my military stuff, I went and have been a serial entrepreneur. Have been a part of probably 10, almost 15 different startups. Over half of those have failed. Some of those we've sold. Most recent business that is going very, very well, ridiculously thankful and blessed, is EQ for Entrepreneurs, which we're rebranding to be EQgangster.com. Right now, it's still EQforentrepreneurs.com. That's the quick update, brother. And then I just told you, just got done pitching 81. So we started a podcast, right? We started a podcast February of last year, bro. The same time that old secret squirrel COVID pops out, right? And no, I had nothing to do with it. So that was not my, you know what I'm saying? I did not start the old Wuhan, you know what I'm saying? that was not me. But check this out. The irony, I had no idea that God would have us start a podcast on emotional health and emotional intelligence, not knowing that the whole globe was about to go into an emotional health crisis as a result of the COVID virus. So boom, did that for, been doing that for a year and a half now. And that has turned into, at one point we had an 8-week course teaching emotional intelligence. I also have a number of corporate clients teaching emotional intelligent leadership. And we also have an emotional intelligent membership course that we are kind of doing some rebranding and stuff as well going on right now. So that's what's going on to catch you up, brother.
You've been doing a lot, brother. You've been doing a lot. I've been seeing the hustle. Congratulations on the killer podcast too. I was checking up on, I believe, Apple iTunes right before this, and it was 61, like close to 5-star ratings, man. I was like, holy cow, he is absolutely killing it. Ambitious Vet, his content is just completely remarkable. As you can tell, very genuine, very authentic, and he is who he is, right? You are who you are, and you're unapologetically who you are, brother. And I think that a lot of people need to know how to be able to communicate at that level. But going back over to you, what inspired the branding change from EQ for Entrepreneurs to EQ Gangster? I want to hear that story.
Yeah. Come on, bro. So check this out. As part of, this is great for any entrepreneur, for any of you vets out there that are wanting to start your own business, have your own business, wherever you're at in your business journey. One thing that is critical is finding what makes you unique in the space. What makes you unique? I don't care if you're a craftsman, you're doing woodworking stuff, if you are doing branding stuff, if you're doing marketing, you're doing insurance, real estate, whatever, what makes you unique? In my opinion, this is not my opinion, what has helped me out 100% be able to identify that is growing my emotional intelligence. I didn't know who I was prior to growing my emotional intelligence because I'm a recovering people pleaser addict. So I only cared what everyone else thought, everyone else, right? I had no idea what my own opinions were, my own thoughts were, because I wanted to make sure that Chris liked me and Bob liked me and Susie liked me and Fred liked me and Francis. I only cared what everyone else thought about me and what their own thoughts were. So much so, this is no BS, y'all, so much so that I had no idea. They'd say, hey, well, what's your opinion? I was literally, dude, this is way old school, so some of you young kids won't be able to know this, but I was like Gilligan from Gilligan's Island, bro. Literally, that was me. Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Well, what do you want to do, Noble? I want to do whatever the majority thinks because that's who's going to like me the most. So I had no idea how to find my own unique aspect or angle into this game of emotional intelligence. Well, as we've been talking to folks and that kind of thing, one of my buddies actually is the son of a CW4 chief warrant officer for Apache pilot. He's a branding guru. And I said, bro, and this is just a conversation I had a week ago. I'm like, okay, Alika, I've been in the space now for a year and a half. Help me out, bro. What makes me unique now that you've been watching me from an outsider perspective? And he said, dude, you're not the Harvard PhD guy with stinking elbow pads and like a stinking straw pipe, right? That's not your angle, right? There's truckloads of that in the EQ or the fancy pants, high speed lady, you know what I'm saying? This professional, the 3-piece ninja suit and all this kind of stuff. That's also not my background, right? My background, I'm an airborne ranger that's been emotionally clueless for most of my life. I flipped off the emotional clue buses that drove by. Screw you, clue bus, right? Because I wanted none of it because I thought it was just a bunch of warm, fuzzy, kumbaya, mumbo jumbo stuff that I wanted nothing to do with, not realizing it impacts every single one of our decisions. every single one of our decisions, it impacts, whether you're aware of it or not. You can say, oh, well, it doesn't affect me. It especially affects you.
Yeah.
So when he's like, Noble, he's like, dude, he's like, you're bald, you got your beard, you got your tattoos, bro. He's like, dude, you are a gangster, bro. He's like, you are the EQ gangster. I'm like, that's it, man.
That's it. It was like the aha moment. Oh, wow. That's huge, man. That's an aha moment. That's incredible. And I think there's a really awesome golden grenade in that, Ambitious Vet, if you're listening. And it really is identify with the feedback loop. Listen to the feedback that's coming around you with people that are experts in their field. To Noble's point, right? Like figure out as you're putting out all those outputs, what's coming back to you? What's coming back to you? And they did a great job with doing that. So I love that brand, man. I look at you, I'm just like, yeah, this guy is a freaking gangsta, but you also are a family man and you like nature, man. I mean, I think I was reading up that you see the Rocky Mountains from your back porch. I mean, you're even a nature dude. So, man, there's so many different qualities that I can just be like, yeah, Noble Gibbons, he's a freaking EQ gangster. Yeah, for sure. So I love that. So, brother, tell us more about the importance of emotional health, right? From the EQ gangster standpoint, because I can definitely identify with it. I'm sure there's an ambitious vet listening to this right now that could identify with being an airborne infantryman that had an emotional skills of a 5-year-old, right? To your point, that's what you're already saying. But what's the importance of going from a 5-year-old to like a 20-year-old in emotional health?
Dude, Chris, it's like, it's hard. It's almost hard to describe all the different areas that my life has changed. And I was raised my whole life. Well, and man, in our society, in our Western culture, to stuff and avoid our emotions. Men are not trained in our particular society, at least in the U.S., to recognize this stuff. An analogy I use in the last podcast interview I was just interviewed on is this: is like, so that would be like to stuff and avoid our emotions, which we all have. Lottie-dottie, everybody has emotions. I don't care. You may think you're hard as woodpecker lips, or you may think you're hard as a bag of doorknobs. Lottie-dottie, everybody has emotions. You just don't know how to be aware of them or manage them or process them, which again was me 5 years ago. And so that's like driving down. Who would do this? Drive down downtown New York City, downtown Miami, downtown Denver, with your eyes closed, not paying attention to the stop signs, the crosswalks, the red lights, the yellow lights, the green lights. That is what our emotions are. So for us, check me, I'm so hardcore, man. I stuff all my emotions and stuff like that. Guys, guess what? You may be covering your eyes going through that four-way intersection. You're still getting in accidents on a daily basis, getting emotional accidents and emotional injuries on a regular basis, but you don't know, you're not calling the ambulance, you're not calling for help, you're not calling for support. And we wonder why there's 22 suicides a day. We wonder why so many people are emotionally constipated and emotionally jacked up. It's because, bro, we're going down the street blind and we think we're cool. No, that's crazy talk, man.
Yeah.
It's not. So here's the deal. The point of emotional health and emotional intelligence is not to be controlled by our emotions and not to be Mr. Juan Fuzzy, like Kumbaya guy. No, it's so that we can manage those signals and those signs and that input that's coming in, so we can be a better decision maker. This has helped my faith, my marriage, my parenting, my finances, my business, my fitness. I've lost 50 pounds for the past 12 months, bro, because
it's amazing.
What diet is it? It's called the emotional health diet, y'all. It's the emotional fitness diet. I was emotional fatty McFatty, and now I'm starting to get emotionally fit because I've got it on a emotional intentional program. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's amazing. It's amazing. So you're saying, because like there's so many thoughts there. One is, me getting out of the Marine Corps, right? And then climbing up a corporate ladder, being a sales guy, indifference was always the cool thing. Oh, I don't really care about anything, right? It's whatever, man. And like just being that cool guy in the room versus sharing your emotions, right? And sometimes that can be more persuasive for one and influential when you're sharing, like, hey, man, I'm actually, feeling kind of nervous about this thing. And then all of a sudden, I've just found, brother, when you say that kind of stuff, like it creates an energy in the room for other leaders to be vulnerable. And then trust just kind of breeds out of that, which is amazing. I mean, and I feel like that's more gangster than being the cool guy that's, whatever, man, I don't care about nothing. You know what I mean?
So the funny thing is the irony, bro, is the quote unquote cool guy who says, I don't care about nothing. We all know, those of us with some emotional health and emotional intelligence, we know they're completely full of crap.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they do care. A lot of times that comment comes from insecurity.
Yeah.
They're trying to cover up and hide that insecurity.
Right.
So you're not fooling anybody, bro. I mean, maybe you're fooling 5% of the room, 10% of the room, but dude, the rest of us know you're faking the funk on the nasty dump.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So you're saying in our everyday life, as we're walking through like New York City, for example, and we're seeing like stoplights, we're seeing people walk in crosswalks, and depending on how they're looking like, or if that light changes faster or slower, we're getting emotionally triggered off those things. And that's the importance of being able to like self-control those things, in other words, right? Is there another example in your own personal life as far as the importance of emotional health? I mean, you shared a lot of them, losing a lot of weight, stuff like that. But what has it, like, let's talk about your marriage for 1 second, right? Like, how has it impacted your marriage, man? Being able to really, get better at your emotions.
Okay. So man, and I'm right. I don't know if I say this, I may have said this. I'm working on a book right now.
Yeah.
Called What I Wish I Knew Before Starting My Emotional Growth Journey.
Oh, nice.
And so, because a lot of the stuff I wish I had known before I started, and here's a dude, I would get emotionally triggered or emotionally hijacked, or I call it going into Hulk mode. I would go into Hulk mode probably, I'd say 1 to 2 times a week, easy. And how I would go into Hulk mode is I would go from so on the screen here. I know the podcasters just visualize with me here. So I've got a stimulus over here in the beginning of the timeline, and then my reaction. It wasn't a response; it was a reaction. But there was no space in between. They were right next to each other. So I would go from a 0 to a 10, literally in 1 second. There was no processing time. There was no, let me think about it. So I would go from a 0 to a 10 in 1 second. And I would do that at least twice a week. Now, what that would look like, once I would get emotionally triggered, and emotionally hijacked and go into Hulk mode, because I had no self-awareness and I had no emotional management tools, what would happen is it would take me, no joke, 3 to 5 days to come out of that emotional adrenaline hijack mode.
Yeah.
Because I'd go into this emotional cave. I wouldn't be available emotionally for anybody in my family because I was still pissed off and still changing from Hulk to Bruce Banner. You know what I'm saying? And that took me 3 to 7 days, bro, to calm down. So I was almost like in a constant state of, if I wasn't always triggered, I was the trigger squeeze on my pistol, bro. It wasn't a 4-pound trigger. It was like a 0.4 ounce trigger, bro. If you breathed on my trigger wrong, boop, I'd go to a 10.
Wow. Interesting. So that's a great segue into what are some emotional skills that you have developed to, kind of put a little bit more, not so much ease on your trigger, but slowing the trigger down a little bit, man, and being able to, slow down, process things, but also get out, kind of give up your shit, in other words, right? Because I know for me, man, I can get into like this guilty state of mind. It just stops me in my tracks, my marriage, business, all that kind of stuff. And it just gets me into this dark tunnel, right? But what are some practical skills for you that you've developed to kind of slow down those triggers, man?
Excellent question. The Mood Meter app. Mood Meter app. It's not my app. I don't know who made it. I don't know. I don't get a piece of the juice from it. It's 99 cents on the old app store, whatever app store you're on, Android, iPhone, whatever. Mood Meter, and it's going to help out start developing a couple different things: self-awareness and some self-management. It's going to take self-management to even do this. What I recommend is doing it 3 times a day, 5 days a week. Attach, and now why 3 times a day? Because typically we eat 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Attach it to a habit you already have. How do you start a new habit? Attach it to an old habit you already have. You're already eating, so before you eat, okay, let me just knock out this Mood Meter app. It takes 30 to 45 seconds to do this. This doesn't take some, oh crap, I gotta get in touch with my feelings and get my yoga pants on and start smoking some weed and get some incense and some essential oils, rock. No. Bro, bust out the app, open the app up, and it says, how do you feel? And it high energy or low energy, pleasant or unpleasant. Okay, I start there. Okay, I'm low energy, but I'm pleasant. Okay, I click on that square. That pops up 25 different emotions. I select whatever emotion it is. And then once I say how I'm feeling, then I have to, well, you don't have to, but I encourage you to. It's got a notes section to write in why you're feeling what you're feeling, which again is a deeper level of reflection that it requires you. So it requires you 30, 45 seconds, 3 times a day. Again, we're not talking have these big giant meditation, yoga moves, all that kind of stuff, downward facing dog business, right? We're not talking about that. We're talking, and I'm not knocking that. So if you rock that, that's fine, dude. I'm just saying for the beginners like I was, dude, an app, it takes 30, 45 seconds, put on how you feel and then why you feel. So now it's going to force you to pause, take a quick pause, check in with yourself. Okay, where am I at? You're just doing a sit rep, man. You're doing a personal sit rep. You're just doing a little personal situation report. You know what I'm saying? Just checking in with yourself real quick, little sit rep. And then, dude, it's got charts. It's got graphs where you can kind of chart it out, see how you're doing, tracks your consistency. But here's the deal. This is not a quick fix, right? So you can't read a book. You can't listen to a podcast. And all of a sudden you're emotionally healthy. That's not how it works, bro.
Right.
Hey, get a haircut. Oh, my haircut's good and I'm fine now for the rest of my life. Right. I worked out once, so I'm fit. I can run a marathon. No, it takes time, effort, intention. But it also, listen, I want to encourage you guys that maybe start this journey because this is going to change your life if you let it. This will transform your life if you let it. Give yourself grace, space, and patience along this journey of emotional growth, because it is redonkulously rewarding on the other end as you get healthier emotionally, but it is not always fun. It's not always sexy, and it sure as hell is not always easy, but it is so worth it on the other end. You just got to stick with it. But again, go at a pace that is manageable, where you feel safe, you feel comfortable. And here's the deal. At any point, if you feel like you need professional help, get professional help, y'all. The stigma of like, oh, counseling and stuff is for the birds. You tell me every top professional athlete on the planet, how many coaches do they have? They've got LeBron James spends $1 million a year on his body, on his health. He's got a health coach. He's got a strength coach. He's got a fitness coach. He's got an endurance coach. He's got a jumping coach. He's got a shot coach. He's got 5 or 6 coaches. Well, man, why would the best athlete on the planet need help? If the best athletes on the planet need and know that they need help and support, why don't we get help and support as well? Reach out to a professional, reach out to a friend, but find somebody that you feel can help you along this journey if you don't feel comfortable or safe doing some of these exercises on your own. But the app thing should be a safe, easy, entry level, sticking your toe into this space that can be non-threatening and safe way to start out your journey.
Yeah. And I love that too, for the ambitious vets that like to be a little bit more private with their personal growth too, that they can go and do this on their own time and it will be directly reflected out outward to their social relationships, to their marriage, their friends, their associates, their clients, stuff like that. So this is something that's being done on their time. So they're not feeling quote unquote embarrassed for like doing some self-help stuff for the tough guys that are listening to this, which I've been there and done that as well, trying to be the tough guy. And it's not always good. So brother, that's great. And I love that example of how top performing athletes, they invest in themselves. I think I even saw LeBron James. I think he's like part face of the Calm app. So he does a lot of mindfulness stuff as well. Right. So really key on that stuff. If LeBron James, who arguably, depending on if you're a LeBron James fan or not, go down as one of the best basketball players of all time, is doing that work, make sure you're doing it as well if you're looking to optimize in every area of life, right? So, Noble brother, fill us in on what's next for EQ Gangster. Where can an ambitious vet go find out more around your guys' current offerings? I know you guys are rebranding. I think the branding is absolutely freaking amazing, brother. I love it. I think it's to you to the core for all the work that you've done and the brand you represent. But where can an ambitious vet go find out more about how to up their EQ and also be a gangster in their emotional life every single day?
Excellent. So I would start, I would say start with our podcast. EQ for Entrepreneurs is our podcast. Again, that's going to go under a rebrand as well. It'll be the EQ Gangster podcast. But again, right now we haven't made that transition yet. That may take, probably a month or two to do that. But right now, EQ for Entrepreneurs is the name of the podcast. It's the name of the YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel, same thing. And just start at the beginning. And yes, you can kind of pick around. Episode 120 has another set of exercises, 3 exercises of emotional tools in there. Episode 120, where you can start like today, along with that Mood Meter app. That's another additional exercise, a few different exercises you could add in the emotional tool repertoire, in the emotional golf bag, so to speak, your emotional weapons in your arsenal. You got your 9mm, you got your 40, your 45, your 240, your M4. You know what I'm saying? You got your SAW 249, Mark 19. You got the whole works right there, right? With your different emotional tools and stuff, your emotional weapons and stuff like that. So that's episode 120, the 3 tools to increase your emotional bandwidth, your emotional capacity. But also go through from the beginning and check out all of those in there. And listen, I'm not coming from a place, y'all, of like, hey, I'm this, I've got a PhD and, again, from Harvard, and like, I'm this academic, ninja. No, y'all, I was an emotional, dysfunctional 5-year-old for most of my life until 4 years ago. So I'm literally, the podcast is literally me sharing my failures, my shortcomings as I'm growing and getting healthier emotionally. That's one. The second thing is, again, you can go to the website, EQforentrepreneurs.com. I think EQgangster.com is also maybe ready. It's not fully, but it's got some stuff on there. But EQ for Entrepreneurs is already built out. And we've got a membership that we're in the process again of rebranding literally right now over the next, probably 1 to 2 weeks. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks, it'll be done. And there will be a membership available. Every member with every member and stuff you will get a scientific, psychometric, emotional intelligence assessment, which will include a 1-hour session with me interpreting your emotional intelligence assessment. I call it your emotional intelligence before photo, right? As you get into that membership, that you will be able to reference and work on and pull out as you're going through our EQ membership, which we are calling, you're not ready. You ready? EQ Mafia, baby. The EQ
Mafia. Man, we're going to have our M16s, our 240 Bravos and everything. We're going to be going out and loving on people, man. But more importantly, figuring out how to get ourselves out of the way too, man, which Ambitious Vet, I've gone and checked out that episode 120, and I did it out back on a patio over a whiskey and a cigar. And just amazing content. It made a big difference in my everyday life, both working from home with my wife. So I just encourage you to start there. And if you want to become an EQ gangster, go and check out Noble Gibbons. He is your guy. So before we let you go, brother, I just want you to leave one last golden grenade for an ambitious vet that's listening to this right now, that's been out for a few years, man. It's kind of figured out how to write a resume, interview prep, and job fairs, but is just lacking something in life. And maybe life satisfaction, fulfillment, a better sense of purpose. What would be one last golden grenade that you would provide to that ambitious vet? And then we'll say goodbye.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a bonus. I'm going to give you 1 + 1. So unaddressed emotional issues don't get better over time. They actually compound. Unaddressed emotional issues don't get better over time. They actually compound. Followed by emotionally healthy people help heal other people emotionally. Emotionally people help heal other people emotionally.
Boom. Ambitious Vet, that's Noble Gibbons, the EQ gangster. Make sure you go and check out more. All his links will be in the show notes below. Ambitious Vet, until next time, hold the vision and trust the process. Take care.
The Ambitious Vet is available on all popular podcast platforms. Go to vettrainingcoaching.com to subscribe, rate, and share with fellow vets.
Hey, Ambitious Vet, before you go, I want you to go check out 10 Steps to Success book.com to go out and check out how I took myself from a wrestling mat with an apartment I couldn't afford in the ghettoest part of San Diego, believe it or not, to investing over $100,000 plus in myself, right? To now impacting thousands of people globally in the personal and professional development world. Now, I'm not going to charge you anywhere close to that. We're actually only asking for $5 to help the podcast out. And inside of that, you're going to get a best-selling ebook, 5x5 goal-setting worksheet to gain sniper-like focus, the Ambitious Vet Field Guide, which is a Rolodex of some of the top most listened to episodes ever on this podcast 2.5 years in, and then also a sniper-focused keynote speech that's going to help you gain the tool needed to make better decisions, problem solving, and conflict management in every day of your life. So go out and check out right now 10 Steps to Success book.com. If you don't know how to spell and you're a Marine like me, I'll have the link in the show notes below, but hey, we'll see you on the other side.